If you were born between 1955 and 1985, this message is for you. It's not a coincidence that you're here right now. It's not random that you clicked on this video. There's something inside you that recognizes these words before they're even spoken. Something that knows, something that always knew. You carried too much weight, too early, and no one ever told you it was okay to feel what you felt. You grew up in a world that demanded you be strong without ever teaching you what that really meant. They told you to be responsible, but they didn't show you how to process pain. They taught you to work, to produce, to perform, but they forgot to teach you how to feel, how to pause, how to rest. You watched the world change. Not once, not twice. You watched it transform so many times you lost count. And with every change, you were forced to adapt. With no manual, no warning, no time to breathe. Do you remember the silence? That silence from when there were no notifications, when there weren't screens buzzing in your pocket, when an entire afternoon could pass and nobody knew where you were. You remember that, don't you? And now you live in a world where silence almost doesn't exist anymore. You crossed a bridge that most people will never cross. You lived before, and you live now. You've known both sides. You know what it was like not to be connected all the time. And you know what it's like to be connected too much. That made you different. You carry a kind of wisdom that can't be taught, only lived. You know what it is to wait, to be patient, to deal with boredom, with absence, with the slow pace of life. And at the same time, you learn to handle the brutal speed of this new world, its urgency, its constant pressure, its collective anxiety. But no one asked you if you were okay. Through all of it, no one stopped to tell you, you're doing the best you can. You're dealing with something no generation before you ever had to deal with. You were raised by a generation that didn't talk about feelings, that didn't open up, that kept everything locked inside. And you raised a generation that expects total transparency, one that demands vulnerability, that asks for emotional presence. And you were caught in the middle, trying to understand both sides, trying to translate different worlds, trying to be the bridge when you needed to support yourself. Do you remember the first time you used a computer? The first time you sent an email? The first time you held a phone that wasn't just for calling? You had to learn all of that as an adult, or almost. You weren't born with it in your hands. You had to adapt, relearn, restart, again, and again, and again. Meanwhile, you worked, paid bills, raised children, took care of parents, built a life without pausing, without quitting, without complaining too much, because complaining wasn't an option. You were taught to endure, and you did, more than you should have, more than was fair. But here's the truth, no one told you. You weren't just surviving, you were holding the world on your shoulders. You were keeping things standing while everything around you collapsed and rebuilt itself at the same time. You are the invisible generation, the one people don't talk about much, the one that doesn't get the spotlight, the one that doesn't become a trending topic. But you are the backbone of everything happening right now. You're at the peak of your strength, or you should be. But you're tired, aren't you? Tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. Tired of carrying expectations, of being strong for everyone, of never being allowed to fall apart, of always having to have the answers. Have you ever felt out of place? Like you don't fully belong in the old world, or the new one? Have you ever felt too old for some things and too young for others? Have you ever looked back and wondered where the time went? And at the same time felt like you lived 1,000 lives in just one? That's because you did. You truly lived. Life wasn't made easy for you. You didn't get shortcuts. You built everything with your own hands. Every achievement, every step, every piece of stability you earned came with sweat. It was fought for. It was deserved. And still, you doubt yourself. Still, you wonder if it was enough. If you did enough. If you are enough. Let me tell you something. You are more than enough. You are exactly what this world needs right now. You have something not everyone has. You have roots. You have depth. You have a strength that doesn't shout, but it holds everything up. You saw economies collapse more than once. You saw jobs disappear. You saw certainty turn to dust. You watched the world you were promised fail to arrive. And still, you kept going. You reinvented yourself. You started over as many times as it took. You're resilient in a way younger generations are still learning to be. And you're flexible in a way older generations never had to be. You are the bridge. And being a bridge hurts. Because you take weight from both sides. Because people step on you as they cross. Because nobody thanks the bridge. Nobody stops to look at it and say, thank you for holding me. But you're still there. Steady. Even cracking. Even tired. You had to swallow so much. So much forced silence. So much accepted injustice. So much choked down pain. because there was no space to speak, because there was no permission to feel. And now you look around and see everyone talking about mental health, self-care, boundaries, and a part of you thinks, where was that when I needed it? It was being built by you, through you, because of your pain, your silence, your sacrifice. You opened the path without even knowing it, without even wanting to. You're a pioneer, not in the glamorous sense, not the kind that shows up in history books, but the real kind, the kind who crosses the desert first, who tests the ground, who makes mistakes so others can get it right. And that has value, that has weight, that has meaning. You may not feel it every day. Most days you probably feel ordinary, normal, just another person, but you're not. You carry an ancient strength and a futuristic strength at the same time. You understand the past because you lived in it, and you understand the future because you're building it. Have you ever thought about this? You're the last generation that knew the world without the internet, the last one that had to memorize phone numbers, the last one that truly lived the experience of waiting. And at the same time, you were the first to learn how to survive in this digital ocean, the first to create rules where no rules existed, the first to raise children with tablets in their hands without having any example of how to do it. You're writing the manual while you live, while you fail, while you try. And that's exhausting, but it's also powerful. You have a perspective no one else has. You can see the whole picture. You can compare. You can say, I remember how it was, and I know how it is now. That gives you something precious, something rare, context, depth, wisdom from someone who lived it, not someone who just read about it. But you keep it to yourself. You don't go around announcing it, because you learned to be humble. You learned not to show off. You learned that real strength doesn't need to prove anything. But now, maybe it's time to use that strength in a different way. Not to endure more, not to carry more, but to be free. To give yourself the permission no one gave you. To feel, to rest, to let go. You don't have to prove anything anymore. You already have countless times. For everyone, except yourself. Look back. Look at everything you built. Everything you survived. Everything you crossed. And acknowledge this. I am strong not because I never broke, but because every time I broke, I rebuilt myself. You have scars. Everyone who truly lived does. But scars are marks of healing, proof that you survived what tried to destroy you. And you're here, still standing, still trying, still loving, still hoping, still believing it can be different, better, lighter. That is courage. That is faith. That is everything. You don't need to save anyone. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be, to exist, to breathe, to keep going. And when you keep going, you inspire Evan without realizing it. Your children see you. Your friends see you. The world sees you, and it learns. It learns that it's possible to go through storms and still not lose your essence, not lose your kindness, not lose your hope. You are living proof that it's possible. So if you were born between 1955 and 1985, this message is for you to tell you that you're not alone in that strange feeling of living between worlds, in that deep exhaustion, in that constant feeling of juggling 1,000 things at once. You're not crazy. You're not failing. You're living something unique, something hard, something that will leave a mark on history. Even if that mark is silent, you matter. Your existence matters. Your pain matters. Your strength matters. Your exhaustion matters. Everything matters. And maybe it's time to stop waiting for someone else to recognize that and start recognizing yourself. Stop waiting for validation from the outside and start giving it to yourself. Stop waiting for permission to rest and simply rest. You deserve it. You always did. And this world still needs you, but not the burned out you, not the you pretending to be strong, not the you sacrificing yourself. This world needs the real you, the whole you, the you who knows the value of things because you've paid the price. You still have so much to live, so much to experience, so much to be, and the best part, you finally have enough experience to know what truly matters, to know what's superficial and what's essential, to choose better, to live with more intention. This is your time, not to prove, but to live the way you always wanted to, but never had permission. The permission is here, now, given by you, to you. You were born between 1955 and 1985. You crossed the impossible. You are the bridge between two worlds. You are the silent strength that keeps everything standing. And now, it's time to finally rest in that strength, to trust it, to honor it. You don't have to carry the world anymore. You just have to live in it with lightness, with gratitude, with the certainty that you have already done enough, and you are enough, exactly as you are. If this message touched you, if you saw yourself in these words, leave a comment below sharing your story. How old are you? What did you feel most while listening to this? Share this video with someone who was also born in this time period and needs to hear they're not alone. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss more content that speaks directly to your soul. You're not alone on this journey, and your story matters. See you in the next video.